Welcome to the Zarlequan Infoverse! We have the author of the captivating crime thriller book Crossroads with us today. Please welcome to the show Rhonda Parker Taylor.
Hi, welcome everybody. Can't wait to engage with you and talk about our creativity processes and how we can apply that to our lives. I'm just really excited about this podcast.
Thank you so much. So this is your debut book, right?
That is correct. It is the debut book. What it's about is how people navigate their lives and become unbalanced. And because of that, it's a crime thriller. So it leaves the main character, Paris Pennington, basically in a position where things can happen to her because she's just totally unaware of her surroundings, what she's doing. She's got a core value of work. So everything's about thriving and having goals and achieving those goals. But when she gets called to jury duty in 1982 for a young woman that has died and she becomes the foreman, it completely changes her life.
So there's a lot going on in this book. And then speaking of which, your book has made it to the hands of some pretty incredible people. You've got some reviews from best-selling author J.J. Herbert and Golden Globe nominated actress Mariel Hemingway. How did that come about?
Well, for me, the best process of writing the book was finding a good partner that would help me navigate the publishing part of the book and also get my book into the hands of people that can actually read it and know, hey, this is a great novel. This is, these are the things that you need to change. So I was able to come up with what's Mindster Media, which is a blended matrix versus just traditional or self-publishing. So what they do is not only do they help you edit it and get it distributed, but they also help you figure out who would be the best person to review your book. And in that case, they said, Meryl is all about life balance. She really enjoys books, and her great grandfather or her grandfather is Ernest Hemingway. So she's also an author. And they said, you need to write a query letter to see if she would be interested in reading your book and endorsing it and working as a partner with you. So, of course, I'm new at the process and I'm a little insecure and feeling vulnerable about putting your work out there. So all of those people out there in your audience that really would like to be a published author, a best-selling author, or even just starting their book and just dreaming about it, know that once you put the things in place, there are organizations and people that will believe in your work. All it takes is being vulnerable. So I wrote that letter. It took me probably 2 or 3 days, to write it and, get my manuscript together for her to read it before, and I'm like, okay, but it hasn't been to the editor yet. And they're like, that's the way she wants it. She wants to be able to see it and read it and decide for herself if you're worth and your work's worth her supporting. So she read it and then she came back and she did a wonderful video. And I think one of my favorite lines in the YouTube video of endorsing it was that at the end, she talks about how we all go through times and where we're at a crossroads in our life and we're trying to decide whether we're on the right path. And she said that at the very end, she said in Paris's case, that we all have to come to the point that even chocolate has an expiration date. And I thought she got the book. She got the whole idea that, as we navigate life, sometimes things aren't meant to be permanent. And sometimes we stay stuck in our own world because we're being loyal or because out of fear. So she endorsed it, and JJ also was one of the facilitators of getting it in her hands. So I really feel blessed that, I did my homework. I looked what was best for me. And I would never in my wildest dreams thought that a girl from Indiana could actually get to this far. I can't wait to get my second one out.
Tell us what inspired a crime novel from, I mean, you're from Indiana. Do you encounter a lot of crime, or how did you go about researching for this? Because this isn't your average everyday kind of stuff.
No, it's not. And I would say it's two or threefold. One is I like people. And so developing characters that are just, have things going on in their lives, whether it be the workaholic that's the main character or the one that did the crime. I really wanted people to relate to them. I had been working in a community service project called the Adopt a Block, and we watched different cases going through the justice system. And I saw sometimes the justice system just isn't fair. And sometimes even when society thinks it's fair, it's still there's always a win and a loss in it. And that's just life for everybody. We all go through wins and losses in life, whether it be adversity, a death in our family. So whereas I'd never been victimized by a crime, I can clearly empathize with the fact that there's a process that everybody goes through when you get all thrown into this scenario because of a crime. The main driver, so I try to put a kind of a message that will resonate with my reader. So I first developed the people, and I use what they call a SOAP note. So those of you that are in the medical community would understand that I go in and I define everything about the person, from their heights to their shoe size to, they broke their ankle when they were in third grade and had to have surgery, so that I know when I get into a scene how they're going to react and what's going to happen to them. Are they going to have a limp? Do they have anxiety and they won't be able to breathe? All these things. So once I get to the scene and the storyline part of it and start delivering the message of my writing, then it's easy because I already know my character. It's like they're my friend, my brother, my sister, someone, close to me. Every single one of them, I know what their history has been about. So then when I get to the plot and the message, so for Crossroads, the message is anger is cruel, which we all know that anger causes crimes every single day. They call it the crime of passion. Fury is overwhelming. And we know especially as hotheads out there, if you've ever had a bad day and you're furious about something, it's going to get you. But who can stand before jealousy? Envy makes the bones rot. So that's the message you'll find throughout Crossroads, that you'll have someone that may have an anger outburst, and it may seem to the average individual that it may be a little bit over the top for an outburst, because anger does that to you. Same thing with fury. But then in envy, it changes the relationships. When someone is envious of another, especially in today's society where everything's, electronic and everybody's bigger, faster, smarter, it changes the relationship. It doesn't matter whether we're comparing ourselves to someone else or we're the ones that are being compared to. It changes for both parties, the relationship, and it changes how we have to deal with each other. Because when there's jealousy and envy in between people, whether it be sitting in a jury room or a best friend or even a coworker, how many times are we at work and there's, office gossip because someone's getting a promotion instead of supporting them. When we get that in the mix of our surroundings and the relationships that we're with every day, then it really changes our purpose. You can't fulfill your own purpose if you're envious of somebody else. So I really want people to think about, in my life, do I have life balance? Am I fulfilling my purpose? And as you see the characters interplay, do I have envy? Do I have anger towards people? Or do I have unresolved emotional aspects of my relationship with people that need to be resolved?
Did you shadow some police officers? Did you go to the courthouse? How did you research for this?
A through Z, anything and everything. What I would do is, well, because I was sitting in courtrooms for the community service project that I was working on, I was in the courtrooms all the time. But for instance, the autopsy, I'd never been in one, and that's not something that you can easily get access to. So I actually got the training manuals on how you do, from an educational standpoint. I am a college professor, and now for the police bantering, one of the main things that I did for them is I did ride around with a police officer. I never got to see a murder scene, but I did get to see how they interact and how they support each other, even in bad accidents, etc. And then for getting the feel of how people react when they're in those situations, I got access and signed up for listening to 911 calls. Where I could hear, how the patterns of when people call in, crimes, how, what kind of pattern of their conversation, and how do they chop off different words when they're in that stressed moment. So I did a variety of different things. If I needed to have a gloomy feel, I might even put some music on that was, a little bit more like, maybe like the Doors or something that, has more of a depressing sound that would make me feel in that same mode. Or reading, I would sit down and read a book that was in the same genre to get my mind on how do other authors handle these kind of problems. And then writing groups and beta readers are invaluable to an author.
Yeah. Can you share with everyone how they can find you and your book online?
Sure. Okay, so I try to make it easy. My book is Crossroads, Rhonda Parker Taylor, and you can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or BAM's websites. It's Rhonda with an H, Rhonda Parker Taylor. And same thing with my website, and all my social media is Rhonda Parker Taylor. And I love to hear from people, whether they've purchased the book and read it, or whether they're thinking about being an author. I shoot me a message and we can talk about your process. I hope I can inspire people to follow their dreams in that. So yes, so RhondaParkerTaylor.com, and then it's also in select Barnes and Noble stores.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all of your knowledge and being open to share more with amazing authors or aspiring authors.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I hope that everybody has a blessed day.
If you enjoyed this show today, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Remember to stay magical, my friends.
The Zarlequan Indieverse.